Well, you know, I really resonated with what Joy said about the social side of this. That by bringing all 6 minds, I guess we have
right.
6 minds.
Right, right.
We got sparks flying. We got interesting things happening that we had not anticipated. That no one of us could have anticipated.
No, no, exactly. That's why creativity is important to share.
And to me, the way everybody's mind is able to associate different ways to these objects is fascinating. You might say, well, okay, we have this zombie figure up here, we have a Buddha. How in the world are you going to put them together into one, you know, one scene? And likewise, this figure. Joy, how would you describe that figure? Is that a known toy object or something?
It's kind of like a very psychotic bunny.
Psychotic bunny.
Psychotic bunny.
But it also interesting. You know, it's kind of interesting because it's Easter in a way, and of course that goes into the nature goddess and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it is also symbolic of the nature part of.
Well, for me, his facial expression is kind of like. Well, it's kind of a mixture of innocence and almost empty-headedness. He's just kind of, you know, because he's just a messenger of the divine,
that's exactly
and so he doesn't have his own intelligence. He's just allowing the divine to flow through him.
To speak through him. Yeah, exactly.
And then I was thinking that that for me, this has stimulated the possibilities of how I could do this by myself. You know, I can maybe, because normally I might sit and try to analyze it, but if I just play around with it at home, I might create things that are much more interesting than if I try to overanalyze it and approach it too conceptually and so forth.
Well, if you have a way of doing it as a video too, then if you're speaking into something,
it's nice to have a
even
record.
just recording it, that way you keep it. It's not something you have to write down as such. You actually experience it, and you can add to it spontaneously without writing it down.
Glass ball there. I'm going to sit on here to reflect some colors.
And I think that, let's suppose that the next step in this, suppose everybody had these objects at home and had it all set up, and they said, okay, the next step is to remove things or put new things in there, but to tell a more coherent story based on your mind. Which you're, you know, I have all these ideas now that have been stimulated by the rest of you guys, and so I might be able to bring together the whole thing into a more coherent story for me, and you might
for your individual interpretation of the experience. And
in, say, in my montage photography or my attempt to tell a story in a symbolic story in photography. This has really been stimulating of my imagination.
Sure. And I mean, like I said, this is something that if I download, you can then probably download on a, you know, like you can take it. In other words, I can send it to you.
That'd be great.
Once it's on a YouTube, it's actually something I think I can send.
Okay.
Well, maybe we can try.
Well, we can try to put this onto your computer now if you want.
Yeah. Let me go turn it on. What do I want to say?
See, what I have is my CF
I want to
card.
say one more thing. You know, if you had not have introduced that head, the things would have gone completely different.
Yeah.
So what is spontaneity, synchronicity, and what is meant to be?
And what is?
What is meant to be? You know, like every object that was on this table was chosen for the story, this particular story.
Yeah.
Every object was necessary, including the objects that I brought in, including the fire that wouldn't work. The fire that wouldn't work. The tom-tom that fell apart. Not the tom-tom, the drumstick that fell apart. It was all meant to be because it added to the story. If it hadn't have happened that way, it wouldn't have been this story.
Well, and we can put this in terms of kind of force. Each of us has a kind of story force, let's call it. And my story force was good and evil with the zombie, you know, and so forth. And each of you added different forces, and these are the forces that are in contention in the real world, you know. But we each are kind of representatives of those different forces.
Sure. That sounds great. Okay, I'm going to turn it off.
Now, I wanted to know, what is the name of the program you showed me?
Oh, I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it is.